Welcome back to Used to Sew, a podcast about sewing machines, sewing history, and sewing culture in the past and present. I am your producer and co-host Aradia, daughter of your main host T.R. Kelly, who is here today to talk to you about white sewing machines. This is an episode that actually almost happened last summer, but TR ended up not feeling super happy with their research at that time, so we never published it. This time, TR feels a little bit better prepared to have all the facts neatly ordered before hitting record. This episode's purpose is to do another history and engineering dive, exploring the history of a machine that can be summed up as Singer, but backwards, and has the best feed dogs of all time. This episode also includes exciting updates from the sewing room about new machine acquisitions, repairing an iron, and a time capsule.
Here we are, beaming back into the sewing room. It's a beautiful gray day in Western Oregon, 50 degrees and drizzling. Typical, just typical. Perfect sewing weather, don't you think?
We had 2 inches of rain overnight. So yeah, I think, well, not overnight, but over the last 24 hours. So yeah, I think staying inside and sewing some pajama pants is about the speed we should be at.
Oh, it's 55 degrees and 99% humidity right here.
Atmospheric river.
Oh yeah, boy, they're really getting it farther north though. Seattle and Vancouver, BC. And yeah, the mountains are turning to chocolate pudding. But, let's just everybody stay home and sew. It was great days to go thrifting, too. I was out thrifting the other day. 2 days ago? 3 days ago? I was in town. The old man had car parts to buy, and I said, look, a St. Vinny's. Honey, drop me off. And so I went in and, looking for the usual stuff. Sewing machines, cool fabrics, remakeable clothes, da-da-da-da-da. And I found 2 really good quality flannel shirts. I mean, the fabric's really heavy cotton. The stitching is well done. Okay, it's not the Union label, but made in Vietnam. Vietnam seems to have a little better quality control than some of the other countries. Anyhow, so to make things fit me, I buy a men's XL and then shorten the arms and the bottom. And then it fits, right? Otherwise, it's a dress. So shirt tail hem, I'm cutting off 8 inches off the bottom and turning those into some patch pockets on the lower front. So it's going to look like a barn coat.
Nice.
And then take the cuffs off, shorten the sleeves about 4 inches, and then put the cuffs back on. And it's this beautiful rusty burgundy and brown check, and it's just perfect. I was just so thrilled to finally find a good piece of clothing that was worthy of altering, It's like we talked about, you buy this fast fashion thing and it says dry clean only and you're like, whatever. Same thing. I look at like, okay, I'm going to buy this shirt and it's going to be too big because I have to buy these men's shirts. But it's a good enough quality that I don't mind putting an hour into the altering. It's fun.
Absolutely.
I also found some really excellent vintage patterns from the early 70s for halter dresses, it's not a plunging neckline. The neck's up and it goes around your neck, but the back is bare. It's this other kind of sundress. So I got that. Patterns for a quarter, vintage patterns, so fun. Oh, and some old doilies, little cotton crocheted doilies.
Yeah.
Little ones, because those are I've been looking at like slow stitching and visible mending and stuff. And a lot of times those are a really neat foundation for a patch. Put a doily on and then start putting beads or floss or stuff on it. So again, I found the little bin of those things. So just all kinds of little notions, a couple spools of quality Molneki thread that had never been used. You can't even buy Molneki anymore. It's been out of business forever, but it was like the 80s. It was like, oh, Molneki, ooh. $3 a spool, even then.
Wow.
Good thread. So, and then sewing machines, there was a pair of Singer 66 treadles.
Wow.
They looked like they maybe had come out of a school or I don't know. They were matching, unadorned, 5-drawer cabinets. They both had all of the bits and bobs in the drawers, original instruction manual and everything, and lots of bobbins. So I had to look through the bobbins and see if there was one of the oldest Singer bobbins, which I don't have in my collection, and now I do.
Excellent.
You're not going to miss one. It's one of the old spun bobbins. We'll do a thing about 66 bobbins at some point.
I got to go pre-thrifting yesterday. My mother-in-law found yet another stash of stuff from her father's wife in a closet. And I am now in possession of 2 sewing machines, one of which I don't want because it's a 2003 white quilt and sew with a case. It's brand new. Like the foot pedal is still in its plastic wrapper. Like it is brand new in its cute little sideways opening case.
Oh my God, this is a well thought of new machine, actually. Huh, okay.
Yeah, it looks very nice. I want to try to find someone in our circle who needs a sewing machine because it seems great, but it has no functionality that I don't have. You know, it's just a lot of cool stitches. I'm like, I have my Kenmore, it's fine. But the other one is a Burnett Deco.
Ooh, now Burnett.
With a scanner and the embroidery tray and
oh my God,
hundreds of dollars worth of embroidery floss thread for using with it and interfacing stuff. And then a whole giant box full of more hundreds of dollars worth of just regular thread and zippers and bias tape and blanket binding and just like hundreds of dollars of zippers. So many zippers. But yeah, I now have an embroidery machine.
You were wanting to get one of those.
With it's got CDs for different patterns. It's got its instruction manual. The only thing it's missing is a power cable and we think a memory card. We think there's a memory card missing. But power cable, pretty sure my husband already has what we need for that. And then I'm assuming a memory card of this sort is not going to be super hard to find because it looks to be, you know, a early 2000s era machine, right? Like it can't be that hard to find. So I have an embroidery machine now. It just needs a couple of little parts and I have all the thread I would ever need to play with. And I also scored just an absurd amount of bias tape and bindings and thread. And
it's not vintage, but it's cool.
Well, and one of the things I also found in that collection of random stuff was a little packet of snap fasteners from 1983.
Oh my God.
I'm like
83.
Like you can see the original price of like, you know, $150 and then you can see like a Kmart downmarked sticker for like 61 cents and it's copyright 1983 and I'm looking at my husband like these snaps are older than both of us.
Oh my gosh, that is fun. And you know Burnett is Bernina's
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all Bernina stuff, but then the thing is Burnett. And I'm so jazzed. I've been wanting one of these forever. And yeah, I got pre-thrifted. I didn't even have to buy it. I just had to take it off of my mother-in-law's hands. That was all.
Wow. So after the old man leaves for his long vacation here, I need to come out. I need to see all this stuff. We need to ooh and ah. We need to like.
I got so much more thread. You know how much thread I have. I got two of these plastic cases that are for holding thread, absolutely jam-packed full of thread that has never been used. Like two
this
of
is
them.
Beautiful.
Like I don't even know how many hundreds of dollars worth of just thread I was given.
Thread is expensive.
Ridiculous.
Thread is really expensive.
And it's good thread. It's good thread. I could tell from the brand. It's like, oh my God. I already didn't need thread because this woman has given me so much thread that she got from this other woman. And she just found more of it. And I'm like, I will literally never have to buy thread or zippers ever in my life.
It sounds like we need a sewing room remodel there. You're going to have to set up a whole new station for this thing.
I know. So yeah, you got to come out and we got to do some winter sewing.
Yeah, we got to come out and envision this winter sewing.
Also, I was trying to sew yesterday and I was having this whole realization that I want to sew. I have this whole mental idea of myself as a sewer, but I only ever practice the skill in these bursts by myself. And so I'm always having to make every single decision I make is full executive function cost. There's no instinctive muscle memory. Like I don't know what I'm doing and there's no cumulative momentum. And it was so much easier when you were here over the summer and we were parallel playing and you were there. And it's just like, God damn it, I need mom to come back so that I can learn how to sew good enough that I can actually sustain the momentum when I am on my own. So I'm glad you're staying in the region for the winter. So maybe we can do some of that.
Oh, Oh, definitely. My main reason for staying home is I haven't been home for a winter since 2017, except for the COVID winter. I stayed home, but that was all different.
Well, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of gotten to where I miss the nice, gloomy, rainy thing, and it's perfect, not only sewing weather, but writing weather. Yes, I'm going to start really seriously putting the book together.
Hell yes.
So Randy says, I'll go away for a couple months, but you got to write. Okay, but I can only write for so many hours, and then it all turns to Charlie Brown talk.
Then it's time for scissors and pins.
Then it's time for scissors and pins and sewing and stuff. And since I'm only 40-minute drive from where you're at now. So yes, definitely we want to do some stuff that's just us sewing, and then we want to do some stuff for all you folks out there in Used to Sew Land who are just hanging out and drinking coffee with us and talking sewing machines, sewing culture. And this is season 3 now. It's January, probably still raining. I mean, right now it's December when we're recording this, but you're probably hearing it in January and the weather probably hasn't changed. But you never know. You never know. You could be having a false spring, which in that case you should go buy some pastels and sew. There's always time to sew. So, yeah. Oh, and pre-thrifting. I had a friend who's moving, and she just had this huge clear vinyl bags that comforters come in. She had one of those just crammed full of all kinds of cool scraps, and she goes, "You want this?" And I was, "Oh, hell yeah." Yep. There's half-finished quilt blocks, there's calico pieces, there's like nightclub shiny fabric, there's just all kinds of things. So that was fun to sort through and pick out one I wanted. And I'm sitting here. You can probably see I got a sewing machine right behind me, the 319. You folks at home can't see because we're not showing you. We are not a video podcast. We are the theater of the sewing room in your mind. Ha 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 ha. Today we actually do have a topic. One of my favorite models of sewing machine is not a Singer. It's a White. White, W-H-I-T-E, White. If you've ever gone to any antique store or thrift store, you've probably seen them. White rotary. They're everywhere. A lot of times they come in this cool cabinet that looks like the word white is spelled out in little twigs on the front, little arts and crafts 1920s thing. White was Singer's main American competition. So we're going to hear about them today, from when they got started to when they got driven out of business like so many other makers after World War II. So the White Sewing Machine Company. We're going to start over on ISMACS, of course, ISMACS.net, International Sewing Machine Collectors Society. We don't want to learn. They go way back to like when Thomas White was a little baby. No. This is cool, though. Okay. In 1858, at the age of 22, the founder of the company, Thomas White, began manufacturing New England-type sewing machines, which he sold for $10 a piece. I'm not quite sure what that is. I think that's a little portable, hand-cranky, one of them old-looking dudes, right? Those first machines were manufactured at the small machine shop in Templeton, White and a business partner pooled together $350 to start their company. This is the part that's funny. Funds were so scarce that each machine had to be sold before Mr. White could afford to manufacture the next one.
Wow. That is some shoestring startup stuff right there.
They were 1850s here. This is the beginning of sewing machines. Everybody's scrambling to make them, to get the market. The market is just like, people are just starting to be aware of these things. Okay, in 1866, he was making more machines, and he moved to Cleveland, Ohio. In 1876, the White Sewing Machine Company was incorporated. So, there's a lot of details going on here. But here's where we start talking about machines. A vibrating shuttle lock-stitch sewing machine was introduced in 1876. From the beginning, it was a very popular model with a total of about 80,000, sold from 1876 through 1880. That was 20,000 a year.
That's not bad.
In 1882, this is peak sewing machines here. We're still on the upswing of this sewing machine curve. In 1882, the company was producing 1,200 sewing machines a week, about 60,000 annually. This is the same model. This is one model they're producing, just one.
Wow.
This white model was described by a contemporary source as a machine of simple construction with a minimum number of parts, a good amount of space under the arm, featuring a feed on either side of the needle. That's one of the things I love about white. Okay, so feed on either side of the needle hole. Singers have always been one side's long, one side's short. Why? I don't know. Okay, an improved version of the white vibrating shuttle sewing machine was introduced in the late 1880s. The tension device was now positioned on the front, adjusted by a thumb nut. It was replaced with an improved version in the 1890s, which continued production into the 1920s. This one, this later vibrating shuttle, is the one we saw at the Shelton McMurphy house.
Okay. That was the one that was in the nook for the seamstress to sew, where it was like, this is where the good light is. Okay, that one.
Yeah, that's that one. He talks about, we could go to another page and talk about that one later. So then it goes on to talk about, as with a lot of other sewing machine manufacturers, in the late 1890s, the company diversified its operation and began manufacturing such things as roller skates, bicycles, kerosene lamps, and lathes. In 1901, the company produced its first automobile.
What?
Yep. White was an early car manufacturer.
Wow, okay.
When production requirements for vehicles increased, a separate company was spun off known as the White Motor Company. But they kept making sewing machines. Like many other sewing machine manufacturers, White manufactured and labeled many sewing machines for retailers. After acquiring the Domestic Sewing Machine Company of Buffalo, New York in 1924, White continued manufacturing the domestic-made Franklin sewing machines for Sears and Roebuck. So check it out. White bought Domestic and kept making the domestic machines, which were badged Franklin.
This is starting to feel a little shell gamey to me.
Sold by Sears. From the mid-1920s through the 1950s, White was the main supplier, and by the early 30s, the sole supplier of sewing machines to Sears, Roebuck and Company.
Wow.
Models sold through Sears, which were built by White, included the Minnesota, Franklin, and Kenmore, which were all White models labeled with Sears Company brand names.
Okay. Huh.
Okay, now moving on from Sears. In the late 1920s, White introduced the first ever sewing machine with the flat crinkle finish. You know what we call the Godzilla finish now? 1920s. So this is way before any war, okay?
Right, yeah.
This mark-resistant paint was supposed to be easier on the operator's eyes because it did not give off glare and was also much more resilient to wear than the traditional japanned shellac finish. In place of the decalomania decorations, fancy scroll work was cast into the head of the machine. I've only seen a few of these. They are beautiful.
I don't think I've ever seen one.
They came out with one that's gold. It's a gold metal. It's called the bronze. And it's this golden metal embossed crinkly machine. And then there's a darker one, a black one. But embossed whites are really cool. They work the same as the other kind, right? So we're here talking about that. Ooh, let's make it look different. It's the same machine inside, but now it looks different.
Well, it's not like a clock. This is a whole ass crinkle finish.
This is a whole new finish. Oh, okay. There's a little funny aside here. In 1940, a time capsule called the Crypt of Civilization was sealed and buried at Oglethorpe University. I'm not quite sure where that is. A crinkle-finished white Model 77 rotary sewing machine was one of the few physical items enclosed.
Wow. Nice. Nice.
Then we go on, let's see. During the Second World War, there we go, the company ceased producing sewing machines in favor of manufacturing more badly needed material for the war effort.
Okay.
After the war, there was a serious shortage of sewing machines in the United States. Seizing the initiative, the White Company expanded its plant and capacity to manufacture machines. The company also introduced a number of new models, including an automatic zigzag based on German designs. However, the post-war period also saw the large-scale introduction of foreign-made sewing machines into the American market, which included advanced European models capable of carrying out many functions that typical American-made domestic machines were incapable of achieving. However, the most devastation to White and the other American companies was wrought by the dumping of cheap Japanese clones onto the market. American manufacturers could not compete with the low cost of Asian labor. And by 1960, all American manufacturers of domestic sewing machines, save Singer, had either gone bankrupt or were absorbed by foreign companies, including White, which merged with the Norwegian-based Husqvarna Viking.
Wow.
So that's what happened to White.
So to refer back to last season with our Mother of Clones episode, that was like, wow, this is so cool. This is the Mother of Clones. Da, da, da. This is what those children did.
Too much of a good thing?
Right. These are what all those clones did. They flooded the market to the point that companies like White just could not keep up. This is the other side of how that worked.
We rebuilt Japan's industry and destroyed our own. Why? To keep them on our side so they wouldn't go communist. Remember, that was the overriding thing after World War II.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's a whole thing.
That's all what I've just read there is from Ismax. Now I want to go to a little more conversational site. This is by Captain Dick, who was the founder of Treadle On, and he's still out there, spending more time sewing, I think, than writing. So he's written this cute thing about Whites here. Now, Captain Dick was way into treadles and hand cranks, people-powered machines. Okay, here he says, White was, next to Singer, perhaps the largest and best known of the U.S. sewing machine companies. Unlike Singer, they did not offer many different models or change models very often. Their engineering was extremely good and their products stood the test of time. They introduced the VS, vibrating shuttle machine, in the late 1870s and manufactured it with minor improvements into the early 1900s. Then they introduced a new model, the Family Rotary, or FR, which was a very well-designed strong machine, and manufactured this design from the 1890s with some variations up to World War II. Unfortunately, there's nowhere near as much information on White as there is on Singer. And then he goes on and talks about some of the same stuff we already talked about. But here's a part that he really gets on that I discovered. The White machines still found today are very usable. There is one serious consideration as to the vibrating shuttle machines, the long bobbins. The shuttle and bobbin are very unique. The shuttle has a post in it, and the bobbin has a hollow core. The bobbin is loaded into the shuttle by sliding it onto the post. These shuttles and bobbins are not available and are very difficult to find. Should you locate and consider a White vibrating shuttle machine, be sure it has the shuttle and a bobbin or two. So this is the one that's up at the Shelton McMurphy house, right?
Yeah, that was what you were so excited to check on when you saw that machine. You were like, is this that really, really rare thing? And sure enough, it was. And we got to ooh and ah over it.
Okay, now he talks about one of my favorite machines. The White FR, or Family Rotary, is the most common White. They're a truly outstanding machine. If you find a good one, don't pass it up. One caution on this model. I always tell people that White is Singer backwards. Now you think to yourself, what?
Meaning like a lot of Singer stuff, except it's reversed, chiral?
Everything about the White is the reverse of Singer. The hand wheel rotates away from you instead of towards you. The thread rolls off the bobbin in the favored easy direction, not cutting back over a lip as on Singer round bobbins. One of the most common help calls for people with new Whites is they can't get their machine to stitch because they're trying to make it go the same direction as a Singer, turning the wheel towards you.
Oh, I mean, why wouldn't you? Why would you even question the direction that the wheel's going to turn? Obviously, it turns towards you. Duh.
Like Singer, White owned their own forests and operated their own cabinet factories rather than contracting it out.
Oh.
They were noted for having the highest quality of cabinets. Their library table and the Martha Washington sewing cabinet electrics are classic, as is the Mission and Arts and Crafts treadle. That's the one that has the little twig things on. So then he goes on with a lot of pictures here. The embossed ones, the copper bronze FR pin. Oh, pretty, pretty, pretty. So White's, unless you're an experienced collector, I'd stay away from a long shuttle. If you want to get a long shuttle machine, I would definitely say get yourself a Singer 27 or 28, 127 or 128, or even a VS3, which I'm loving very much. If you're going to get a White, gosh, get a White rotary, because I want to tell you, the feed dog, I'm going to go off about the feed dog again. The early machine had a feed on both sides of the needle hole. The White FR has feed teeth on all four sides of the needle hole. This is a very positive feeding machine. It also has, see what I'm saying? It supports the fabric all directions. It feeds very straight.
Because it's got one that goes crossways above and below.
No, it's got a long one on either side, okay, and then picture the needle hole in the middle. There's a short one in front of the needle hole and a short one behind it.
Oh, still going in the same direction, obviously.
We're still going the same direction. Yep.
But still.
Yeah.
Oh, I can totally see how that would help a lot.
It's the best feed dog ever. I made so many complicated, weird fabric things. I made a teepee cover on a White treadle. That really positive feed. Plus, another thing I love about them, there's a lot of room to adjust pressure on it. It'll go from really low to really high. And the tension is really remarkable. It's a much more positive tension than Singer, easier to adjust, a lot bigger arc of adjustability. The bobbins are absolutely huge. The biggest domestic bobbins I've ever seen. I think I talked about that in the bobbin episode. Like I said, the White rotary, especially as a treadle, is just incomparable. Now, as an electric, because it turns backwards, the way a White was electrified was putting a motor on a bracket with a rubber pulley that rests against the hand wheel. This is called friction drive. A lot of machines were produced that way. Free Westinghouse, there's a few others coming to mind. Anything you see that's some domestics that has a little pulley pushing on the hand wheel instead of some kind of a belt going to a motor, that's called friction drive. Now, the problem with friction drive is those pulleys get flat spots and then they get loud. It's a big brrr thing. So what they would tell you to do, the motor is on a spring to keep pushing it against, they would tell you to put a piece of fabric between the motor and the body of the machine to relieve the pressure on the wheel when you weren't using it. Well, now who's going to remember to do that?
Nobody.
The other thing you could do is get a motor that has what's called reverse turns. It's a reverse motor. It's electrically different. But get a White treadle. Just they're so awesome. Plus, like that guy said, the cabinets are just spectacularly made. Very pretty. So they didn't make, as we just heard there, they made the long shuttle. And then he did a few improvements on it. And then he made the rotary. And they did a few improvements on it. And when you start looking at later, like the White rotary, the old black, it's got gold decals, this and all. Okay, they took that shape, but then they changed the outer body, but didn't change the guts. A lot like Singer did with some of their machines, And so you get this thing called the White Model 77, which is, it's like if you pixelated that round shape and you made it all like angular. It's kind of weird looking. There's a lot of Kenmores like that. Let's see. Those are seen a lot, and they come in a black or green crinkle finish. Another thing about White that's different is the way the feet attach. The attachments in the feet. Instead of, picture your typical Singer. You've got a thumb screw on the left side of the foot, and you undo it, and you take the foot off. Okay, White stuff. Here's your foot, and it's got this little fork on top, and you stuff the fork back on and then tighten the bottom of the presser bar, and it's a whole different kind of thing. I find it easier because it's a bigger diameter thing that you have to screw and unscrew, and with my old hands, that's a good thing.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So those are called top clamping attachments. There's one Singer that uses back clamping attachments, the 66-1. It's a whole different deal. So whenever you're looking at machines, especially ones, well, even within Singer, you've got your straight needle and your slant needle, high shanks and low shanks, and Kenmore super high shanks. And then you've got Free Westinghouse top clamp and white top clamp. So I think there was 9 different foot attachment types. And people would come in, I want to buy a buttonholer, and I'd have to, okay, what kind of machine you got here? Because it's a Singer. Well, what kind? Straight needle or slant needle? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I was thrifting the other day and saw a whole Kenmore buttonholer.
Oh, yeah.
Set. And I looked at it, I was like, that's really cool, but I have no idea if it's right for my Kenmore, and I already have a perfectly good buttonholer set up on my Singer. So, it's fine.
Right,
whatever.
right.
But yeah, I just impulsively, it's a buttonholer. It says Kenmore. Surely that'll fit. And it's like, I don't know if it'll fit. I could if I was smart and remembered things, but I don't. So
if it was a super high bar, it would have been very sellable on eBay. Super high bar stuff is hard to find, and that's what your machine is super high bar. And it was a Kenmore specific deal, just like Singer's slant needle. It's like, come on, guys, can we? And then Bernina has its own little foot dealy, how theirs are attached. So, yeah, we all use the same needles, but don't use that guy's foot. So after white got absorbed, well, before, there's one other white model. Is this one still from the U.S.? I think so. I think this is one of their last ones. And a lot of people who are into vintage, not necessarily antique, the white model 764, which was made in 1964, and you may have seen these at Mike's shop. They have the whole top of the machine is a handle.
yeah.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I have.
It's such a cool looking thing. The 764 was introduced during the 1964 New York World's Fair and shows the degree to which other than Singer makers were willing to go to attract buyers and differentiate themselves from the old generation. The colors are great. Metallic dark pearl upper, standard beige lower, controls are large, there's plenty of chrome. The integrated handle. The styling, however, may be argued is a little dated, and that the forms and surface treatment actually look like a 1940s automobile. And it really does. They show a picture of an old car next to it. Rounded, two-tone, lots of chrome, this massive integrated handle thing. Very cool. But that was like the last... Is that one made in Japan? No, I think that was the last American one. So yeah, and then they got bought out by Husqvarna, Viking, who continued to make their machines and still, I think, did for quite a while. There's whites from the 70s. They're really... They look like tractors, the logo and everything, and the stripes of chrome. And they're basic machines, but they haven't really got a lot of fans. Why? Perfectly serviceable. Probably picked them up for not much money. And I don't think they still use the old, I think all the modern Japanese whites use the basic Class 15 oscillator, not the old famous white rotary. I can tell by looking at the throat plates here that it's not the same. So... TR's recommendation is if you're into treadles and you want a really good treadle and you don't have one yet, or you're not, whatever, you're looking for one to sew on as a tool, get a white rotary. I'm telling you, it's the feed dogs. Just the feed dogs, dude. Go for the dogs.
So the one that I mentioned at the top of the episode that I have recently been given, it says white, but it's from 2003. So who's making it in the early 2000s?
Who is making it? Probably in Japan, probably.
Is it still Viking?
I don't know.
Okay, because it still says white. So it's, again, I feel like, again, I'm back in geology. I'm like, is it a mineral or a mineral group?
Is it badged?
Or is it a colloquialism? Like, what are we doing?
Well, let me just. This is an interesting question. I've got both. 2003. What does it do? Does it have like computer stitches, or is it mechanical? Push buttons or knobs?
I think it's all knobs. I only briefly opened up the case and looked at it last night. It's called a Quilt and Sew.
Okay.
And it has a video cassette with it.
Ooh.
For like an instruction manual. But yeah, it's in this cool case that has a button on the side, so it opens sideways, and it's like a carrying case. It's obviously meant to take to quilt class. It's very lightweight as a sewing machine goes. But yeah, I was flipping through the manual, and it was just all about the different kinds of stitches it could do. Just a million different permutations of zigzag and patterned stitches and things you need to do quilting with.
Well, I'm looking now. The instruction manual is online. All kinds of places here.
But it's just brand new. It's brand spanking new.
Well, this is going to be fun to look at. I've heard of this machine. I've heard of it, which, there's so many machines now. It's like, who makes white? Who makes white? I don't know now. And like Bernina's Burnett line is not made in Switzerland. I think they have a factory somewhere else that makes the Burnett's. Let's see.
Yeah, that one comes with a scanner and everything. It's very complicated.
Wow.
Like a literal scanner. I think you can just like put pictures into it. And there's a lot to discover with that one. That one I'm excited to keep. The white, whatever your real name is, that one I have no interest in keeping. But the embroidery machine I will be.
Okay, the White Sewing Machine Company, currently produced on the Husqvarna Viking brand, which is part of Electrolux, which is also Swedish. However, new white branded sewing machines have not been manufactured since 2006.
Oh, wow. So this is one of the last runs of sewing machines that they even made, apparently.
Yeah, we're gonna find out more about it. Yeah, and this other thing. I mean, yes, I'm going to have to come out. I'm going to think, oh, man. I have to bring my cat.
I got another ruffler. There's another random thing. Just in a box, brand new ruffler that's all metal except for one plastic little knob
on the top.
Yep. Just like, I don't actually need this, but cute.
Rufflers multiply. It's a joke on several of the things. Like, no matter, you buy machines for a while, and all of a sudden you find you've got a huge drawer full of nothing but rufflers.
It's happening to me, apparently.
There's different kinds, though. I got this one with the VS3 that's unlike any I'd ever seen before in the way that you adjust it. I really like it. Oh, wow. I like this one better than the modern one. It has too many. This just has less moving parts, and it's really easy to change things. I don't know.
Oh, speaking of little doohickeys, I did use the bias tape applier the other day.
Ooh.
I was changing up a shirt that had, an old hand-applied bias tape neckline that was not working for me. So I cut it off, and I wanted to redo it. And I was like, don't I have a tool for that? And it wasn't perfect. It definitely, I screwed it up a little bit. But as a first, it was a lot easier than trying to hand pin it and stitch it on one side.
Oh, no
my
doubt.
God, that little bias tape applier. I just have to practice with it. And then I'll be. It's the only reason it didn't work perfectly is because I was just inexperienced. Like, we'll get there. We'll get there.
And you were doing a curve too, right?
Yeah, and it was slippy fabric, and it was not an ideal situation, but it worked so well anyway.
It does. Placemats, square things pot holders, stuff that's like I like doing it on hems.
Yeah.
Instead of turning up a hem, I'm really into all my skirts lately have these bias hems on them.
And yeah, like I said before, I now have a bajillion more miles of bias tape than I did yesterday. Or day before yesterday.
If you got too much thread and bias tape, I've got some holes in my collection. I've been going through browns and tans and neutrals like crazy.
Oh, yeah. I definitely have an infusion of browns and tans and neutrals that have been color sorted into their own box. It was like as a box of reds and then a box of browns. And I'm like, oh, goodness. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking, maybe next week we should use to sew at your house.
we should definitely look at our calendars and see what we can rustle up.
Look at our calendars and see, because I don't know if Randy's leaving Monday night or Tuesday morning. And so we'll have to talk about what we're going to do. But this is great. This is Santa Claus has come early.
Basically.
And brought machines and thread. Oh, my Lord. And just one last little thing here. I fixed an iron yesterday, damn it.
Congratulations.
Electricity. I love those little vintage folding travel irons.
Oh, yeah.
The handle folds down, and then you can just stick it in a sewing machine case with all your other stuff, right? Ready to go to the quilt class or whatever. And they only go up to 250 watts, which works with my off-grid electricity reality, right? I don't need 1,000 or 1,700 watts to sit here and press quilt blocks. So I bought this iron for $12, come home, plug it in, and all of a sudden there's like all this smoke coming out.
Well, that's not ideal.
No, but I of course, being a scientist, I smell the smoke. It doesn't smell electrical. It smells like a candle. It's like, what the hell? So I'm thinking the person I bought this from probably shined it up with some kind of, it's on eBay. You want to shine up your stuff. So maybe they got some like car wax into the crevices. Nah, still smoking. Okay, wait for it to cool down. Take it apart. Of course, you got to take it apart.
Well, at this point, there's nothing to lose.
Yeah, right. It's really simple. Made in Japan. Okay, 2 screws, all metal, except for the handle's Bakelite, the old school plastic stuff. So take it off. Oh, look inside. How is it made? This is a little element that sits underneath this heavy piece of cast iron, which holds the heat against the soul of the thing, which is more, okay, cool. Well, what's smoking? Oh, oil. Somebody tried to oil the handle to make it fold easier, and the oil went inside.
Oh.
So there's this old, that's why it smells like a candle, right? It's that old oil smell. So I just basically Dawn dish soap, clean the whole thing out, dry it, put it back together, plug it in. Poof, we are pressing, baby. We are pressing.
Hell yeah. That's barely even fixing. That's just cleaning.
It's just cleaning, but to open it up and actually see how it worked. I'd never, like, how does this work inside? Now I have 3 others of these that are scattered various places that I want to do the same thing. Just open them up. Also, there was a dead bug in there. That's probably smoking too. Like, once again, unplug it first.
Always unplug.
But, you know, it's okay to take things apart and see how they work, because it'll still recycle in 5 pieces as well as 1 if you mess it up, right? So, yeah, beat those blues. Go out thrifting. Find yourself some fun thread. Go shopping in your own stash. Find some bias tape and your binder and practice doing that. That would be fun, right? Makes me want to do it right now. Where's some bias tape? Stay threaded!
And there you have it, a series of tangents dedicated to the White Sewing Machine, a brand that started out at one machine being manufactured at a time, rose to spawn a car company, and fell to being acquired by other companies. They had their own forests, the best feed dogs, and their treadles were so good that they are TR's recommendation if you're looking to get one today. I enjoyed learning about the absurdly tight budget on which the company started, and how they grew to make cars as well before their fall to foreign competition and merging. I think it is funny that for all my mom is a singer girly first and foremost, the white actually holds a lot of her admiration too. Next week we are going to stay with engineering, but scoot a ways back into the timeline, back to before sewing machines existed, to understand a bit more how the groundwork was laid for Singer, White, and all the others. As a reminder, we are unofficially sponsored by Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, who do repairs and restorations. You can follow us on social media and YouTube, and you can best support us by sharing the podcast with your friends. You can even get ad-free episodes by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/used2sew. Thank you for listening to us here at Used to Sew. We always welcome your additions, corrections, and feedback in general. Please reach out to us via email at usedtosew@gmail.com. Used to Sew is a production of Fox and Raven Media. For more podcasts from Fox and Raven Media, visit our website at foxandravenmedia.com.